In 3.5, objective 4, write an equation given 2 points. This is going to be practice problem 5 in our textbook. Find an equation of a line through -1, 6, and 3, 1. Write it in standard form. All right, so we have 2 points. We have -1, 6, and 3, 1. All right, we need to write it in standard form, which is ax plus by equals c, where a is just a number with x, b is just the number with y, and c is just a number all by itself. All right, so we need to find the equation. All right, remember when writing an equation, we have to have 2 things. We have to have a slope, and we have to have our b, which is our y-intercept. So we have to have a slope and a y-intercept. We have neither of those at this point. So we have to find them. So the first thing you always have to have, you can't do anything unless you have your slope. So the first thing is you need to find slope. All right, well, we learned not too long ago on how to find slope. How did we find slope? It was the change in, it was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's write that formula back again. It was y2. So in order to find slope, you have to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right. Remember, y2, x2, y1, x1, those are just the parentheses. This is the second parentheses, and this is the first parentheses. All right, so this would be our x1 and our y1. This would be our x2 and our y2. So let's just plug them in. What's our y2? Our y2 is, okay, the formula is a fraction. Make sure you don't change the actual formula itself. It's a y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, so our y2 is 1, so we're going to put 1 minus 6, which is our y1. x2 is 3, so we're going to put a 3 for our x2. And our x1 is -1. So we had a minus sign there, and now we're putting a -1 there, so that's going to change that to a what? A positive, right? Add a line, change the sign. So we really have 3 plus 1 under here. So -1 minus 6 is what? -5. And then 3 plus 1 is 4. So our m, our slope, is -5 over 4. Bam, we got part of it. But the second thing we have to do, so the first thing we did is find our slope. The second thing you have to do is find your y-intercept. In order to find your y-intercept, we just learned over here to find your y-intercept, use point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m minus x times x minus 1. So let me rewrite that. To find your y-intercept, you do y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Well, you'll notice here we only have 1 parentheses this time. You can choose whichever one you want. If you want this one, if you want that one, it doesn't really matter. But let's just, for grins and what it says, let's use our first parentheses. So again, remember in our formula, y is just y minus, okay, what's y1? Well, y1 was 6. So in place of y1, we're going to put 6. We now know what our slope is. Our slope is -5/4. Remember, x is just x minus, what's our x1? -1. All right, so now we're just going to change that to add a line, change a sign. So that's x plus 1. Add a line, change a sign. All right, and we have -5/4 equals y minus 6. All right, we have a fraction. We can distribute this fraction as we have it, or as we notice, we have an equal sign. If we have an equal sign, we can always get rid of our fraction by finding our LCD. So our LCD, we only have one d. We only have one denominator, which is 4. So I'm going to take this equation, and I can do whatever I want to an equation as long as I do it to everything. Well, I want to get rid of that 4. So I'm going to multiply everything, all my terms, by 4, my LCD. So I'm going to multiply this by 4, this by 4, and this by 4. This is one term because it's all multiplied together, all right? These were separated by addition or subtraction, so that was 2 terms. So 4 times y is 4y. Minus 4 times 6, well, what's 4 times 6? 24. equals, okay, here's why we did this. We did this because look what happens. This is 4 over 1. Well, it cancels out. And now we just have a negative 5x plus 1. Now what would you do? Distribute your negative 5. So we have negative 5x. Negative 5 times positive 1 is going to be negative 5 equals negative or minus 24. All right, so we need it in standard form. We got to get the numbers all by themselves. So we're going to move this 24 over here to the other side of the equation. So we have 4y, and I'm going to move this x over here because it says I need my x's on one side, my x's and y's on one side, and my numbers all by themselves. So we have negative 5 plus 24, so what's that? Positive 19. Therefore, your answer is, that's not in the right form because I need the x first. So 5x plus 4y equals 19.